Okay, welcome to the solution to your task. The first task was to change this background color to a much lighter color every time we clicked transport. Head on over to Xamarin, open up your view controller, and we're going to look at this button touch up inside, and in particular this if color switch is on. Now if you recall, when we set a random number and then we requested a next double, this gave us a value between 0 and 1. We then used that value to make a color from RGB which accepts red, green and blue values between 0 and 1. Now the higher the value, so the closer to 1 you are, the lighter the color will be. It's sort of counterintuitive, at least to me. So what we want to do is actually change these random numbers to be closer to the 1 section. So if they come out at 0, we'd actually like to have them not be there. We want them to be, say, 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, something like that. The first port of call is to look at this next double. If I open the bracket, the auto-suggest gives me some methods or arguments I could have in here, and for next double there is only 1 because it's 1 of 1. I can only get between 0 and 1. I could take that value and multiply it by 2, but I might have an error. I might go beyond 1, which might cause crashes later on. So what I'm going to do is replace this next double with a next integer. And if I scroll through my list of available arguments, I can set a min value and a max value for this integer. Now that's handy. Let's do that. Let's set a minimum of 50 and a maximum of 100. Now why 50 and 100? Well, because this is an integer, I can't say 0.5 and 1 because that's a decimal point. And later on, what I'm going to do is actually divide this round 1 by 100. So down here in my background color, I can say divided by 100, or I can do it up top here, divided by 100. Now it depends again on the variable types, because we have a float cast here. We have to be very careful with where we do this, so I think I will actually put it down here by round 1. And then we're going to do the same for all of the other numbers. So this is going to give us a random number. Let's say it chooses 69. Divided by 100 is 0.69. So our value will always lie between 0 and 1. Now if I hit play, let's see what it looks like. We should have much less of a clash with the background color that appears. So there we go. We can click through it and you'll notice we have nice light sort of palette going on here. Okay, so that solves that problem. The other one was we wanted to change the background color every time a letter was transferred, not only when we clicked the button. To do that, let's make this change color function a function all of its own. Let's cut it and tidy up a bit here, and then void change background color and drop it into here. Right, so we have our change background color. Now, because we have this method, which I obviously can't spell, there we go, we want to call this method every time we transport our text, and we also want to make sure it runs on the main thread. So after update progress view, let's have change background color. Now let's hit play, and we should have this epilepsy effect. This app is really getting out of hand, isn't it? And when I put my text in and hit transport, I get a different color each time it transports my text. And if we really want to have a rave, we can drop this task delay down to about 100, so it's going to run 10 times every second, and we should get a nice flashing screen. If you've got epilepsy, I'd advise you to actually look away now, because this might trigger it. When I hit transport, I get a whole bunch of different colors. It's actually kind of cool, and I think with a bit of tweaking, you could have something like this in one of your apps that would make your users go, wow, I really like how he's done that. Okay, so that is the final lecture in this section. In subsequent sections, we're going to start afresh with new apps and new ideas.